getting ready to do some interviews only because I have come from a racing family. My dad and mom are still in the area, very much active. Okay. I'm being told by my technical director I need to speak up. I just didn't want to speak too quietly. But anyway, what I wanted to say was that's better. Thank you, Chris. Christopher is like my guru when it comes to doing anything to do with this computer. He's set me up. Right now, he's practicing for the 6 hours of the Glen, and I'm going to be messing up his system because he's starting a race in less than an hour. But I'm not going to be on here for very long. But what I wanted to say was I had been given a monumental task, I've discovered, by my family to do a biography of my father, who has been in racing since the day I was born and before. I was born in 61. I'm 60 years old and I'm a crew chief's daughter. And the best way to probably do my streams is to give the point of view from me, only because I do remember very well many of these races. And when I look at the dates on the trophies, it's shocking that I was 2 months old and remember laying on a yellow blanket at Connecticut Dragway. And I remember how the blanket felt and that the grass was there and there was a fence. You know, I remember so vividly. And the car is going by and my dad has the trophy and it figures out I was 2 months old. I mean, I could paint the picture of what I visualized, and it's kind of freaky. I have memories of things at racing and as such from very young age, and I'm very lucky to remember that, I guess. It's a little overwhelming. I feel like there's a lot up here, but I'm trying to approach this task in the best way possible. I thought of getting an app and writing, and I think the best way to document this stuff is to do videos like this. My dad had many titles, and in racing nowadays, it's a crew chief, a team manager, this and that. And he's done those. He's had those titles. But so many times in his racing career, he has not had titles, so to speak, but he has worked with so many people and helped the industry in racing from the time I can remember. He has helped racing so much, so much. It's unbelievable. And if you can hold on a minute, I'm going to refresh this and check things out. Okay, I am live. All right, let me mute this sucker. But anyway, yeah, I'm very new to streaming. This is my first streaming from my home environment, and I'm going to try to mute this stuff. Hold on. There, that's better. So I can see stuff. Now, like I said, I was given a monumental task of getting all of the information, all of the races together. It was easy if you say he was a crew chief from 1990 to 1993 with Joe Nemechek, and it's listed in the books and it has all the documentation. But so many times he would get a call and say, can you come to the track, set up the car, for so many people, and so many people he has touched their lives, and so many people have touched our lives. And it was weird because all I know is racing. All I know is about going to the track. And as soon as I became old enough to go into the pit area, that's where I wanted to be. I worked in all the shops with my dad since a young age. I saw how he set up cars, and he talked to us, myself and my sisters, about the engineering side of things. And to me, it was fascinating. It's the geometry. It's like art. I'm an artist. I have an art degree. And to me, it all made sense because it was to do with angles. And the one thing I always remembered was how he, in the beginning, taught me how to set up a car. Hi, Panic. Thank you for showing up here. He taught me you have to go into a corner before you can get around the corner, way before you can get out of the corner. So going into the corner, he said to me, if you were on a piece of wood with a spike in the middle, what happens when you let off the gas? Where's the weight go? It goes forward. He said, when you start turning the wheel, where's the weight go? I said, the right front. He said, how are you going to get out of the corner? He said to me, what happens? I said, well, you got to have all the weight on both wheels. It's like a drag strip. So he taught me the geometry of how to get from going in, affecting your front of your car, to going around the corner to here. Everything's on the right front. The trick is getting it from the right front to the left rear. Now, when's that going to happen? It's going to happen when you stomp that gas. You don't want to be on your right rear or your left rear when you stomp the gas. You want to be even like a drag strip. So he taught me basically that type of chassis design. And he got his start in 1957. He was 14 years old, bought his first jalopy race car for $15. And he went to a track with his uncle. And he knows the finer points, but I know they did well, like as far as qualifying. But I think there was something to do with a crash and a fear, and the uncle got out and somebody else got in, but this car was a winning car. And when I get him on later, I found this to be the best way to document all the history. He will tell you more. I've spoke to him about that as well. So I even found out he drove a race car, and it was an ice racer. And he said he grabbed a car from the back junkyard. His uncle had a used car lot, and he fixed it to make it to go ice racing on Whalum Lake, Massachusetts. I've got some videos of that. And I think my dad's car might be there because he said it looked like a big skunk. And there's definitely a car in there that looks like a big skunk. I asked him how he did. He said, oh, I won. And that's my father. He just never had expression. He just expected to win. And we expected him to win. And I just thought that was the way it was supposed to be. But anyway, trying to do this from my perspective. I remember Connecticut Dragway. He won the championship, 1961, September. I was born in September. He won in October, November, somewhere late in the year. So it puts me at 2 months old when I remember being there. And I remember traveling to many race shops throughout my whole life. And I've been to 56 plus racetracks, mostly asphalt. Big highlight in my life was going to Martinsville, and it was a modified race. My dad at the time worked with Ray Hendrick. It was with the New Style Jewelry, #1 red, very popular car that Jeff Bodine drove, Ronnie Bouchard drove. George Summers drove up at Oxford Plains and won. Hop Harrington was the first driver on that team, along with Ray Hendrick. And my dad was brought in there to work with Ray Hendrick and Hop Harrington, and Ronnie Bouchard ran the third team. They went to Martinsville, and my dad has all the stats. I've got it written down. I know they did well. I believe they finished third, but I don't know exactly. I know there's names like Richie Evans, Bugsy Stevens. These are all people I watched drive when I was growing up. I remember going to Trenton, and the last time I went to Trenton, I saw Richie Evans alive, and I remember where I was when I got the call through the grapevine. It was tough. But we have seen so much in modifieds, and wonderful, wonderful teams, and still in contact with many families, many generations, 3 and 4 generations later. Ryan, I met recently in 2017. My dad is in contact with Ryan Priest because he is the grandson of Bob Judkins, the 2X modified, very famous racing team, and a good friend and colleague of my father through many of the years. There is so much history and so much innovation, and the cambered rear ends and the different things they came up with, and there's just so much. And I remember it like it was yesterday when I hear the stories, and I'm glad I have a good memory for 60. But Dad's 80, and he's still building shocks. He's still contactable. People call him to this day for suggestions on different tracks because he's ran them all. And he's building shocks for some road teams still. I was on the phone with him last couple weeks, last time we spoke, and our family is always so busy, but we speak as much as we can. And he had to hang up and came back and said, oh, hey, so-and-so needs me to build shocks for an Xfinity car at a road course. And it just amazes me. He has more energy than I do. He's a fantastic father, and he gave us a fantastic life, and I don't really know what else to do but watch racing most of the time. And since I have to do this biography, I am getting notes, lots of notes together, and watching hours of race coverage from the days, and amazed at how much everything kind of intertwines, and how many people he touched, and how lucky I was, because I just didn't realize how lucky I was to grow up like this, and see the total birth of what became NASCAR today. And before I cut off here, because my son is running iRacing, he has some physical issues that don't allow him to really race in real life, but he is going to do the 6 hours of the Glen shortly. Oh, speaking of that, my dad did a lot of IMSA in 86, 87, 88, 89, and kind of crossed back into NASCAR with that Valvoline car with Tommy Riggins. And anyway, not to get, there's just so many tangents I could go down, but I wanted to say thank you if you're viewing. I don't know any other way to consolidate all the info, because he never had a lot of titles, but he was a consultant, chassis designer, engineer, still is. Formula One is what a lot of the concepts and theories, the racing theories my dad used, came from. He had a great teacher back in the 50s and early 60s that came out of Italy because of World War II and the Formula One racing. And that's where it all started. Ronnie Bouchard is the one driver that I have known since I was a baby, and my dad stayed with him for many years. They won the Talladega 500 in 1981 with Race Hill Farms. My dad was not the crew chief, but he was there as Ronnie's personal consultant. He was always Ronnie's personal consultant throughout his entire life for many racing tracks and such. And it's going to be hard, like I say, to tie it all in, but it's going to actually be a video, hopefully, that I can transform into the biography in the form my family is looking for. I also have so much memorabilia that'll be part of some of my streams, and looking very forward to diving right in to the racing life of a crew chief through his daughter's eyes. And it allowed me a lot of great opportunities too. Very lucky, very fortunate. And until next time, hope you go watch my buddy Warp Lotus tonight. He is hopefully going to get his A license so he can race the 6 Hours of the Glen. Or watch Christopher Stange, that's my son. He's Caruso blood. If you know Mario Fats Caruso, he's his grandnephew. And like I said, there's a whole history. There's racing all over. That's all I know in my life, and I hope you enjoy it too. Talk to you later.